Good afternoon. Excuse me. Good afternoon. This is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 3825 Southwest Gerald Court here in Portland. We are located here on the left side of the house, same side as the pool. I describe everything as if you're standing out in the street, facing the front of the house, front door in general. That from that orientation. So just outside the sliding glass doors here, we've got a big steel cover plate. Underneath that is a 4-inch ABS cleanout. This will be our point of access. Checking the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is currently running, just zeroed out there. Making a turn right out of the gate. Looks like we are turning to head out to Southwest Gerald Court right now. Camera is upside down right now, in case you're wondering why the water's flying through the air. That is not your eyes deceiving you. And homeowners are doing a pretty good job at keeping, for the most part, most of their grease out of the line. There's a little bit in here, but pretty clean relative to most homes. After almost 25,000 scopes at this point, grease buildup has become something that I'm a lot more concerned about. Grease buildup when it gets thick anyway, and it's continuous throughout the line. It honestly is a bigger contributor to blockages than a lot of structural issues are, or it exacerbates a lot of kind of on the fence issues, bellies, offset joints. There's a lot of them out there that rarely cause problems unless the line gets abused. You couple those things though with some good thick grease buildup, and the homeowner finishes the job, or kids do anyway, but flushing 12 balls of toilet paper down the line, or wipes or something like that, and it's often that conjunction that results in a blockage, and grease is often a part of it. I've done a lot of drain cleaning over the years too, so I'm a stickler on it, and I like to point it out when people are doing things right, or fairly right anyway. Transitioning here to 3034 PVC pipe. Appears to be 4-inch diameter. That transition there looked pretty flush. Get a little better view of that on the way out. And then the line right here, I've got a horrible sun glare back here. Really hard for my eyes to adjust to some of this lighting right now. We're entering into concrete. Appears to be 6-inch. Typically that is the diameter of concrete pipe in this part of town. It almost looks like we're entering into a manhole. I'm just having a hard time seeing fine detail right now. That right there certainly is a connection onto the main though. Yeah, that last little bit there, I'd about have to look at in better lighting. I've got dark room. Concrete's just kind of a murky substance. It's hard to see fine detail unless you have good lighting. Now you got an updated line here. Looks like just about all the way to the main, for the exception of the last, whatever it is, 6-8 feet. So we're gonna go locate the camera head really quick here, see where the line's heading, and we'll pull back in once the pipe's drained off. Alrighty, so we are currently sitting out on Southwest Gerald Court. Line terminates at the main there. If you go stand out in the street and face the house, downhill from I guess if you go the downhill direction, down the hill you'll see a manhole that lines up kind of with the pool area. You'll see some patchwork that's right there. All that patching is where the line was updated. They took the update actually pretty far into the road, and the line does tie directly into that manhole there. Where that manhole lid is, you can actually look down through that and see my sewer camera down there. So anyway, the last little bit of the line is unupdated concrete. It's not majorly problematic or anything of that sort. A little bit of standing water in here, which is honestly to be expected with concrete this age. So no major concerns there, and that concrete pipe is all well within city responsibility. That is not the problem of the homeowner. I like to verify that stuff. Concrete, especially at this age, a lot of it's reaching that point where it's getting near updating, so it's just stuff you don't have to deal with. That's why I like to verify that. And you put yourself over in Washington County, however, all of this would be your problem, should it ever need fixing anyway. And there is a little bit of water trickling through the sewer line right now. That water is moving. That's not standing water. And it's a fairly shallow line considering this comes out through a basement. Just this orientation on a hillside like this. You've got a line that's shallower than a lot of regular homes on regular streets that aren't on hillsides. It's without a basement either. That's very unique. Normally when you hit mains in this part of town, you're pushing 10, 12, 15 feet deep sometimes. It's very expensive to fix when you have to. Anyway, that little bit of tan brownish stuff there in the flow line, you can see it a little easier now. It's a thin skiff of grease buildup. My camera's busting most of it up, and on its own, it's really not even drain cleaning worthy. I just like to point out what it looks like. And this is a household that's doing a pretty good job at not dumping all of their grease down the line. It's when you're putting real quantity down there where it gets you. Kind of the rule of thumb I tell most people to live by to mitigate the vast majority of it is if you've got enough grease or oil in your pans, when the pans are hot or warm anyway, if you were to turn that pan sideways and there's enough on there that it runs off the pan in beads or worse, or flows off of it, it's at that point you want to do something about it. Let it, either pour it into a jar while it's still liquid, or let it cool down, scrape it off into a garbage can, wipe it out with a paper towel. A thin little coating of PAM spray is no big deal. Hot water and soap handles that. You don't need to go crazy over that stuff. One of the keys to making sure it doesn't build up in your line, if you know some is getting down there, is let your hot water run for about 30 seconds to a minute after your last dish was scrubbed off. That helps to ensure that anything that did get down line remains melted and emulsified till it gets all the way to the main, or at least a good distance out from the house. When you shut your water off, your hot water off right after that last dish, all that stuff that just went down there has to now traverse, in total here, you're probably 100-something feet when you consider the interior pipe, which this clean out is directional. Otherwise, I'd go backwards through it. But generally speaking, what I focus on is the exterior piping. But that stuff has to make it quite a distance before getting to the main. And once that pipe hits the exterior, or in this case, you've got, a basement floor, that pipe underground is always cold. So the grease starts to harden up very quickly as it cools down. So little pointer you can do to help mitigate things. Anyhow, we have good flow all the way out to the main lateral connection. Most importantly, good flow all the way to the street, which is what the homeowner is responsible for in this part of town. All the pipe is in good condition, intact, and quite a clean line. And a good portion of the stuff that I pointed out there in the flow line, a lot of that will start busting loose with just natural water flow over the next few days. Out, my camera's gone through there and busted it up. So very nice looking sewer line. It is functioning properly at this time.